we got to talk about Matt Stafford because, like, one of the first things me and Vish were talking about in DMs and online was Matt Stafford. Why Vish thought he would be perfect. This was back when people were thinking like maybe Aaron Rodgers, maybe Tom Brady. Back in the offseason, and Vish was like, nah. Stafford. Before I get your thoughts on the potential of Stafford going to the Niners, we asked this because Steve Young's been pushing for it. A lot of people have been pushing for it. And I just happened to watch Stafford a couple nights ago. And man, that guy is better than he's ever been. So what are your thoughts on this, Vish?
Well, first, I'm going to put it out there. The Matthew Stafford would win MVPs, plural, with Kyle Shanahan as his coach. You know, everybody has always questioned how he's done in Detroit with a winning record. Well, he had like 4 or 5 years of winning seasons with Jim Caldwell as his coach. And Jim Caldwell is not like the greatest coach ever. He's just a pretty good coach. And Matthew Stafford is a phenomenal quarterback. And he was able to pull that off in Detroit, of all places, Detroit. Mm-hmm. So I think it would be an incredible fit. Like, he was drafted by the 0-16 Lions, right? One of the worst seasons ever we've seen from a franchise. Like, if you think the Jets are bad, that Lions team was pathetic. They were pathetic. And so he was drafted by that, and he's been through a lot. And everybody's like, well, he hasn't won anything in Detroit. He's had nothing around him in Detroit. I think you give him to Kyle Shanahan, and the talent, like, he's a Mahomes-type talent, a Rodgers-type talent. I think it's, in my opinion, it's one of the 3 or 4 best arms I've ever seen. It's with Josh Allen, Mahomes, Favre. So he's really incredible. So the fit is, as a player on the field, is seamless. I think the bigger conversation is, can they pull off the trade? And to me, it comes down to who the Lions hire. They hire a young guy who they give a 6-year contract to. That guy might be willing to tear it down and rebuild it. Because like, maybe there's just with Matthew Stafford over time, you know, like, it just hasn't been working for whatever reason, and you can keep trying with different coaches, but at what point do both parties, which is the Lions and Stafford, just get exhausted of each other? Like, man, this isn't working for either of us. And I'm hoping it gets to that point, because I think Matthew Stafford has a player option in his contract in 2021, or there is an option for an out. I know that, and I'm hoping that he is willing to come to the 49ers. I think that would be a great spot for him, and I think he could win a Super Bowl with Kyle Shanahan.
Well, I think here's the argument for why the Lions would get rid of him. I mean, it's not that he's not good. It's just that he's always been good. They've never been good.
Right.
They've never been able to put a real team around him, and part of it is the fact that he's paid to be Peyton Manning. He's not quite Peyton Manning. He makes a lot of money. So let me put it out there. What his cap number is this year is 21.3. That's reasonable. That puts him at 9.9% of the Lions cap. That's kind of the threshold, 10%. I mean, it's surprising that he's right there. Teams understand. They know the history. But then next year, his cap number goes up to 33 million. And under the cap, which is going to be the same or go down, it's projecting it to take up 17% of their cap. They can't win that way.
Right.
They can't win this year with him making 10%. Now it's going to go to 17. So that would be the reason right there. Like, trade him for a pick, start over, go cheap at the position. That's been working. The only thing is, we can talk about how good this guy. I was surprised. I mean, the pocket presence, the confidence. He looked a lot like Josh Allen. The thing is, I think they could get a lot for him, because when they trade him, he's not as expensive for other teams. That prorated bonus is expensive. It's $13 million a year. So he's actually a relative bargain for another team in a trade. So I think they could get at least 1 first-round pick for him.
Yeah, they could. You know, if it was a first-round pick and it was just a first-round pick, if I'm the 49ers, I still do it. You're not going to get a player. Like, even if you draft a quarterback, like, let's forget the top 5 guys. You're hoping you can even get a player at the level of Matthew Stafford for the next 10 years. So I would do it in a heartbeat. I think that because of his age and where the NFL is trending and who's interested in quarterbacks, because there is a surplus of quarterbacks in this league, I think that the Niners would be one of the main suitors. I think maybe New England would be in that conversation. I guess you might want to throw out maybe like New Orleans, but their cap is totally, like, it's demolished. So they have no chance. They've nuked their cap to win the Super Bowl this year. So they have no chance, I think, at making a run at him. And, you know, I don't know if New England would really look into Matthew Stafford. I think they are going to go the cheap quarterback route. I think they're going to be their MO, because they're kind of, They're slowly, without anybody noticing, they're slowly re-tearing and rebuilding that roster.
Mhm.
So there's going to be a lot of veterans out the door. I mean, we're seeing how many young guys are playing for them this year. They always have a lot of picks. So I don't think he would be the guy that they would go after, which I think puts the Niners in the catbird seat to get him.
Well, see, let me use a Vishism right now. Let me push back a little bit. I think there's nuance there. No, hey, I'm trying to get Vish to smile, but he's still in he's still in finals mode. No, the thing about I think your logic is good. All I'm trying to think is from the Lions' perspective. Let me put myself in the Lions front office because I may be there one day. Who knows? You can't trade Matt Stafford for the 15th pick in the draft. Because you can't replace him with the 15th pick. If you're trading Matt Stafford, then you're definitely going to draft a quarterback this year. Definitely. So, yeah, I mean, if you could get Zach Wilson and you really like him, if you could get Trey Lance and you really like him, although he can't start right away, if you could get Justin Fields and you really like him, great. But to trade him to the Niners, we don't know what the Niners pick is going to be. For all we know, they could have the 9th pick in the draft, and that could be great. But if they had the 15th pick, they end up 8-8 this year, something like that. I don't know if the Lions feel like, well, let me trade Matthew Stafford for the opportunity to draft Kyle Trask.
Oh,
I mean, Kyle Trask isn't exactly Matthew Stafford.
No, he's nowhere near. So here's the way I see it. Like, look, what you're saying is plausible, but I don't think NFL teams usually do one-for-one trades the way the Niners did with DeForest Buckner and Javon Kinlaw. That's kind of an unprecedented thing that happened. I think if they traded Matthew Stafford, hopefully you get a couple of picks. It doesn't have to be quarterback this year, right? You can get a cheap veteran quarterback, have him play this year and start rebuilding your defense and start accumulating talent and kind of set up your roster to the point where you can get that young quarterback and move forward that way.
When you talk about things NFL teams don't do very often, trading a top-level quarterback in his prime and not replacing him that offseason, that would be a tough sell to the fans if they come. Maybe they won't be there.
The Cincinnati Bengals did it right. They traded Carson Palmer in the middle of the year, 2 first-round picks, and then they didn't draft Andy Dalton in the first round. They drafted him in the second round.
He left the team. He retired. He was like, I would rather not play.
Right.
Well, yeah, it's okay. All right. Well, look.
I mean, we're
if
talking
I'm in the Lions front office, I'm going to say, guys, if we trade Matt Stafford, we're good. I would recommend we take a quarterback this year because I don't know about. I mean, maybe we could trade for Nick Mullins. Maybe we could pull that off if I go over there. Figure it out. Look at your face. Look, man, I can see I just feel like if the Lions trade Stafford, someone with more to give than the Niners would be interested. That's all I'm saying because he's a hell of a player. What I see from him is a guy who could win Super Bowls if he just had a freaking run game.
Yeah, I agree.
And he's never had it in Detroit. And that's not even a money issue. That's a scheme issue. A run game is cheap. The Shanahans proved that in the mid-90s. You can manufacture a run game with undrafted free agent running backs and lighter offensive linemen you take in the mid-rounds because of the zone. I mean, come on. Someone help him out. I'm going to do my best.
Someone in the comments brought up the Colts. Definitely a good option. It's definitely a fair option. And they do got the cap room to pull it off. But to me, when I'm zeroing in on the Colts this year, I think they're going to be all in on Carson Wentz because I think Frank Reich looks at Carson Wentz and the way he did it with Carson Wentz in 2017, and he could probably rebuild that and take Carson Wentz. And I think he could have maybe the best quarterback in the NFL. That's how he sees it.
I got a team.
Who?
Jacksonville.
For Matthew Stafford?
Yes.
Why would they do that?
Because the other option is to draft Justin Fields, depending how you feel about Justin Fields.
Well, but yeah, you get Justin
Fields. They have $80 million in cap space. They have 5 picks in the top 66. You could take Justin Fields and develop him, or you could trade the number 2 pick for Matthew Stafford and then have another 4 picks in the top 66, plus another $60 million in cap space. They're a blank slate. They can do whatever they want. Now, maybe Matthew Stafford wouldn't be interested in going there and starting over. Maybe they're not close enough to competing, but I actually think that team is they got good players. They got a lockdown corner. They got a hell of an edge rusher. They got a hell of a middle linebacker. Jacksonville's interesting, and they have a pick that they could trade. Maybe they prefer Fields. I don't know.
Yeah, that's actually not the craziest idea. It's actually a decent one, good one actually.
Thank you. Thanks. It's all me.
My thing with that would be like, would you want? Like, if they believe in Justin Fields or Zach Wilson or whoever non-Trevor Lawrence they really believe in, like when they go through the process, they're probably going to take him because they're going to look at it as this is 10 years with that guy. The reason I look at Matthew Stafford for a team like the Niners is because the Niners are one of the few teams, and the Rams are kind of this way, where they've kind of locked up all their young players, and their young players are becoming veterans, and they're in this kind of win now zone, and you need that quarterback who's ready to win now. And I think both teams are kind of in the same situation where they're just missing that quarterback. Like, I watched Goff last night, and he looked just as unimpressive as he's always looked. There's occasional games where he pops off, but I feel like there's a lot of training wheels on that offense. So I'm not too sold on Jacksonville being able to maneuver themselves where they would just bring in the veteran quarterback and try to patch the team that fast, because, like, again, it's another move that's just totally unheard of in the NFL.
Okay, I want to stick with the quarterbacks. I got a wild card topic. I haven't prepped you for this one, but I think it's fun. Let's project the best fit or the potential landing spots for the first round quarterbacks. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is going to be going to whichever team gets the first pick. It looks like the Jets. Where do you think would be the best landing spot for, say, Kyle Trask? I got a team right now that I think would love him.
Sure, go for it.
New England.
New England.
They don't care that he can't move, and they don't care that he has questionable arm strength.
No,
they want. You think so? Because
yeah,
Cam Newton ain't working out for him.
They play in Foxborough. You gotta have a guy that can throw the ball very naturally. Look at all the guys they've drafted. Ryan Mallett throws the ball really naturally.
He throws the ball naturally. Hold on,
Ryan Mallett?
No, I mean Trask. It's not like he can't throw, dude.
It doesn't spin that well. He doesn't spin it that well. Garoppolo was a really good spinner of the ball when he came out of college. Brady has spun it as good as anybody.
You mean the rotations? I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo has a stronger arm than Kyle Trask. He may spin the ball with more rotations per second.
Yeah, but that means
Jimmy doesn't have. He's never had a deep ball.
No, but in their offense is a lot of short throws. And you got to be able to get it out quickly. You have to be able to get it out accurately. Garoppolo has a great motion, great release, and he spins the ball really well. Where he throws a tight spiral, which for them, when you're throwing in weather, right? When you're throwing in weather in Foxborough in the winter, you got to spin the ball tight. Otherwise, your ball.
Okay. So who do you think they take? It's because it ain't Cam. That guy stinks.
I don't think they'll draft one.
I think they will. They have to. Cam stinks. Jared Stidham isn't good enough. They got to, unless they want to keep losing.
I think that this year they will let what's it called? Cam walk. They'll go into this year with Jared Stidham and take another guy in the second or third round.
Third round. Okay. Second or third round. And you think it'll be fair. You think it'll be another Jared Stidham type, or do you think they'll try to go for the
it'll be a Stidham type.
So Mac Jones.
Yeah, because I see the way I think of them is that they feel that their offense takes a while to learn, right? It's a very complicated offense. If you draft a guy in the first round, you can't develop him for 2 years to teach him the offense and get him prepped.
That's a good point.
That's why they take the second and third round guy.
That's a good point. Okay, so someone in the second or third round for the Patriots. Interesting. All right. Well, what about let's say Zach Wilson? Where's the ideal spot for him? Where do you think he's going to end up? Carolina? Joe Brady?
Carolina would be perfect for him, I think. Joe Brady.
Imagine him in the backfield with Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, with Joe Brady and those receivers. Those receivers are incredible. DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, Curtis Samuel, as good as it gets.
That's kind of a great spot. Washington could take him too, but if Washington keeps winning with Alex Smith, are they really? I mean, one way or another, they got to draft a quarterback. Whether they move on from Alex,
The thing with Washington is that they're either going to be in quarterback position or they're going to be picking in the 20s. They're not going to have anything in between.
It'll be like the 8th pick or the 20th. Sorry, yeah. That's funny. That is funny. So it's hard to project if they'll even be in position. I guess if they make the playoffs, they won't. If they don't make the playoffs, they could take a guy.